Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys Magic. This is Hunter, Steven, and Shane. Say what up, guys.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, I'm in the process of moving.
What's up, nerds?
We are back. This time, no David, unfortunately, conflicting schedules here. But we wanted to get this content out for you guys. Yes, we are talking about commander grades, specifically the monocolored of the brand new Universes Beyond Assassin's Creed. We got some Assassin's Creed cards to talk about, specifically in the monocolored variety. That is right, only a couple. So you'll see another video. It'll be the multicolored. But let's go ahead and get started with this first card. It's Layla Hassan. It's 3 and a white for a 3/4 legendary creature human assassin. It's got first strike, and it says when it enters the battlefield and whenever one or more assassins you control deal combat damage to a player, return target historic card from your graveyard to your hand. Is that good, Shane?
No,
Why?
I don't know. It's recursion, but it's slow. Puts it back in the hand. It just doesn't seem like something I'd play. But all right, let me rephrase it. Is it good? Probably good. I,
Which
I don't
means you
know.
can put a historic card back into your hand before the other damage goes through.
You kind of
Maybe
pigeonholed
that's
too. I don't
relevant.
know. Unless you're playing a bunch of assassins, this is the only assassin. But I'm
I
guessing
mean,
you'll have
that's
more
the
than one.
number I need to hear before I say if this card's good or not. I need to know how many mono white assassins there are.
You really want to know?
Yeah.
Here we go. We have one.
What?
This is it.
Well,
Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is not a good card as a commander, with there only being one and it being this one. Unless you're running a Masswood Nexus and it's in your opening hand, this is not going to be a good viable source.
yeah. I mean, those shapeshifters, but that ain't good.
No.
A little hard to pull off. I'll agree with you guys there. So, because we're talking about historic spells, they can be sagas. So, let's say Urza's saga is in the grave. You can bounce that back to your hand multiple times.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I hear David in my head, and that's not good enough. Bouncing back a land that's gonna take 3 turns to kind of turn on each additional time. By turn 9, you should either be winning the game or the game should be close to over at that point. I don't think that's a viable option. I just don't really think this card is good as a commander. I like what Shane said about the shapeshifters, but like it doesn't make sense to me to for this to be the helm of your deck unless
Yeah.
you're going straight Voltron.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. So, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. Steven, what are you giving Layla?
F.
Still
Rough.
think it does something. Giving it a D.
Still think it does something as well. I'm gonna give it an F.
All right. Well, Layla Hassan starting the video off as an average of an F.
Sorry.
Moving on to another mono white legend. It is Senu, Keen Eyed Protector. 1 and a white for a 2/1 legendary creature, Bird Scout. It's got flying, it's got vigilance. It also has ability you can tap it. Exile Senu, Keen Eyed Protector. You gain 2 life and scry 2. It also has an ability that says whenever a legendary creature you control attacks and isn't blocked, if Senu is exiled, put it on the battlefield attacking.
Hunter, now I know you were super high on this card, so let's get your thoughts first.
The reason I was super high on this card is because any type of exile effects, it doesn't matter if you're using its ability to exile itself, this card always has a chance to come back. And I think that's very cool in the space. That's kind of my purpose of saying the card was good when we saw it spoiled. But as a commander, is that good enough? Absolutely not.
I mean, it's super interesting though, because if you're playing with
Yeah,
a lot of legendaries and you exile out your commander, like it just keeps coming back swinging.
true.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, but what point of the game does a 2/1 flying vigilant kind of like die off?
Yeah. I mean, it's good recursion for life gain, and it lets you kind of look through your deck quickly. I guess. Well, I don't know.
The
Seems like
answer
more
is
of a
early.
seems like more of a helpful, like a helper. Yeah,
It's a protector.
a helping protector rather than a commander.
Keen-eyed protector
It
specifically.
would say keen-eyed commander if it was a commander.
But it's
Mm-hmm.
not.
It's not.
All right, fine. Let's move on straight to the grades. Um, yeah, it's a D.
It's an F.
An F, Steven. I gotta go with a D this time. I think it's pretty cool to at least do a little bit of shenanigans.
Senu, Keen-Eyed Protector, gets the average grade of a D. Moving on to the mono blue section with Leonardo Da Vinci. That is right, real life character in Magic. 2 and a blue. For a 3/3 legendary creature human artificer, has that ability to pay 3 and 2 blue. Until end of turn, Thopters you control have base power and toughness XX, where X is the number of cards in your hand. It also has another ability to pay 2 and a blue. Tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. If you discarded a card, if the discarded card was an artifact card, exile it from your graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 0/2 Thopter artifact creature with flying, in addition to its other types.
Yeah, this is actually a very fun card. Pretty cheap. I like the fact that it's 2 and a blue. I like that it's a 3/3. But that's really where it kind of stops to a certain extent. The really good thing about this card is discarding and basically creating that copy token of the card you discarded, as long as it's an artifact, of course. Um, I was messing around with some deck building and I was like, oh, I could make a copy of Blightsteel Colossus. And I was like, oh, it's a 0/2 Thopter. Never mind. But this deck could be so fun and has a ton of shenanigans. You can throw in so many expensive artifact creatures that have a lot of good like ETB effects or a lot of death effects, and essentially not really worry about it because you might not have the mana, but all you really need is 3.
What
You
I was
said it's
thinking.
a 0/2 Thopter, but pay that 5. It's no longer a 0/2. It's whatever. It's XX, whatever's in your hand.
It's true.
Sure, if I were to spend 8 mana that turn, I could definitely do that.
7 mana, but
Whatever. I think it's I
It's
think it's
8.
a cool it's cool to like be
What do
able
you
to discard what?
It's 8.
is it 8?
5 plus 3, right? Is 8?
Yeah, you're right.
I know.
Damn, Hunter is bad at math.
Um, no, I was just saying, most of the time you're mono blue, so you're gonna have a ton of card draw in this deck. So I think, I don't know, man. I don't really care too much about the second part. I think that first part of giving everything XX Thopters, if you have like Thopter Spy Network just continuously making Thopters in this deck, you are gonna get out of hand so quickly.
I
I
think
mean, at that point, just throw a mechanized production in there and just win the game on your next turn.
Could do.
I don't think you can really just ignore that bottom half though, because like you need to be able to consistently get those Thopters to make top part even relevant. So it's like you got to be
Sure.
doing both.
But there are plenty of ways in mono blue to make Thopters alone.
Well, right. I'm just
So
saying like it's easier when the card itself does it for you, and this card does. So why not take advantage of it and just take advantage of discarding artifacts that have relevant text? Who cares if it's not going to be big, but it's got nice text on it. We just
I
care
mean,
about the text here.
drawing a card and discarding a triplicate Titan, and then when that 0/2 Thopter dies, you make 3 of those beautiful little triplicate Titan
Yeah,
things.
that's pretty good.
I mean, there's tons of ways to gain advantage. I think for sure, in my opinion, I think that the second piece of text here is probably the most viable, and the first piece of text that gives you that XX toughness and power is it's a game finisher for sure. Once you've kind of set everything up, I think this is a massively good like draw engine deck. Gives you a bunch of draw engines that you can put in there, and then essentially, like Hunter said, with like Thopter Spy Network and like other cards that make Thopters, it gets very out of hand. I think this is a very strong commander. Plus, being in blue, tons of protection.
yeah, don't get me started with a throw in Urza, Lord High Artificer. It's pretty much every blue artifact deck, right?
Pretty much.
But let's go ahead and move on to the grades. Steven, we'll start with you. What are you giving Leonardo?
Uh, I mean, I feel like I'm on such like on two ends of a spectrum. First two cards I gave an F. I think this one I'm probably going to give an A to. I mean, I love mono blue with all my heart, and I think from the protection to the card draw to the silly shenanigans you can do to meme it, it's kind of an all star for me.
Always here for the memes. I'm not gonna go that high, but I will give it a B because I do see it's very strong. It is monocolored, and starting with 3 mana as a commander cost is very good.
Yeah, I'm also a mono blue lover, but I'm gonna stick with a B.
Leonardo da Vinci gets the average grade of a B. And that was it for Mono Blue. Time for Mono Black. It's Desmond Miles, 1 and a black for a 1/3 legendary creature human assassin. It's got menace and it says Desmond Miles gets +1/+0 for each other assassin you control and each assassin card in your graveyard. And it also says whenever Desmond Miles deals combat damage to a player, surveil X, where X is that amount of damage it dealt to that player. Hmm.
Seems okay.
That's cool, right?
Are there more assassins in black?
Very much
That's my
so.
first question.
Was that a question?
I mean, what? There has to be like a good amount of playable ones, right?
Yes.
I'm not just saying
The
like.
answer in Mono Black are 71 assassins.
All right, so there's like half of those that are probably playable, right?
Pretty good one.
I mean,
I
this
guess.
screams like mono black Voltron in a weird way. I think it's like a lot of like a mill package for self mill, and then also just to just build it as just destroying your opponent's boards, so that way Desmond can always get in.
I mean, it's got
Yeah.
Machete, dude.
I'm actually not a really like. I understand why they put their Surveil X, so you can get those assassins in your graveyard, make this bigger. But I'm not a big fan of that because you could. I mean, I guess you could not put anything into your graveyard, but I don't know. I mean, it's a fun card. It just seems a little meh.
I
Yeah,
think
I mean, it has the potential to go ahead and be a recursion deck.
that's what I was gonna say, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe not so
But
much Voltron, but like if you make, I mean, you could do like a half seas kind of thing, making him a little bigger and then just loading up your graveyard after like 1 or 2 swings. That could be pretty sweet, dude.
I mean, Menace is nothing to scoff at.
It is not. You can't scoff at that.
you can't scoff. Uh, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I think we're done with Desmond Miles. He's very one-dimensional, I think, and that is why I think it's pretty average. It's getting a C.
I
I
agree
mean,
with
it
that.
is one dimensional. It is printed on a card. So I will go ahead and give this a C as well.
I also agree. Middle of the road, good old C.
All right, Desmond Miles gets the average grade of a C. Next up, Roshan, Hidden Magister. It is 3 to black for a 4/4 legendary creature human assassin. It says other creatures you control are assassins in addition to their other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. It also says face down creatures you control have menace. And whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, you draw a card and you lose 1 life.
A Maskwood Nexus Morph Commander?
Yeah. I was gonna say this seems really good, but you need it seems like more of a helper again. Because like I want to be able to reliably put face down creatures. I get it, build around it. Don't tell me that. I understand that. But like it itself isn't putting them face down, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it needs a lot of setup for it to do anything. If you don't have anything else around it, this card does 0.
I mean, it's just very odd because you kind of wish that there was a piece of text on here that said assassins you control gain this, or assassins give you this, or draw you X cards, or even surveil. But this is just making other cards assassins.
Right.
And then it only really cares about face down creatures. So I mean, I'm not really here for this as a commander. Like Shane said, this is very supporty.
100%.
Super supporty. I think this is an uncommon for a reason. I don't think it is that viable as a commander at all. And I think we could probably move on to the grades pretty quickly on this one. I'll kick us off. This is my first grade for this. It's an F.
Yikes.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to join you there. Man, I've really haven't given a lot of good grades for these cards so far.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna be there with you, man. F. We're gonna have some good cards soon, right?
Yeah.
Next one, yeah.
Roshan gets the average grade of an F. Moving on to the mono red, because there are no mono green commanders in Assassin's Creed. So mono red starts off with Alexios, Demos of Kosmos. It's 3 and a red for a 4/4 legendary creature, human berserker. It's got trample, and it says it attacks each combat if able, can't be sacrificed, and can't attack its owner. It also says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player gains control of Alexios, untaps it, puts a +1/+1 counter on it. It gains haste till end of turn.
That's sick.
Banger, dude.
That's a fun play style right there, dude.
It's like they said, Slicer wasn't good enough. Let's throw something else in here.
Yeah, so people are obviously comparing this to Slicer, and it is a topic of conversation if it's better because it has trample, and those counters on that thing is no joke.
I mean, I think it's better. I mean, Slicer obviously, you can flip it and it's got some other stuff going on, but like this is really good, man. I mean, on curve, still pretty solid for a 4-4 on the field, but obviously you're trying to ramp this out and get this out as fast as possible so it can start hurting people. I mean, this
Yeah.
is really good.
Yeah, you just put this on the field and just watch the table.
Yeah, so you set it and forget it kind of thing. It's like, have fun. I'm setting you free.
Yeah, I think my favorite part too is like you can just look at everybody's like, listen, man, I'm not attacking you.
Yeah, because the first time this attacks, it's a 5-5 with trample.
Mm-hmm.
That's if this is on curve, you're putting this on turn 4. Let's say you were the first person to play, right? Your turn 4 is before everybody else's turn 4. You play this, the next person starts their turn 4 and is swinging a 5-5 at someone else that hasn't had a turn 4 yet. So they're probably taking all 5 damage, if not blocking with a lot smaller creature.
Why couldn't they just make this more pushed and giving it first strike too?
Yeah, dude, why don't they in Death Touch maybe? Come on, dude, just
Hey
make it
man, if
pushed.
it comes back to your side, just put some equipment on it. Make it even more powerful. Just let
Yeah.
it go.
Give it a little
Just get this
kiss.
Annihilator while we're there, dude.
This card's
Yeah, there
sick.
you go.
I think we're all on the same page of like, this card seems very fun.
Yeah, when this is first spoiled, this was probably my favorite card I saw in a while. I mean, I knew Slicer existed, but I was debating on building a deck. But this, I actually think I might. So
Wow,
it's
a
a
red
fun
card with +1/+1 counters. You're gonna build it?
Ugh.
maybe.
Like I'm
Shocker,
already
dude.
not looking forward to playing against it because it's just you're just gonna be like, what, dude?
What? Let's move on to the grades. I will start. Alexios starts with an A.
Solid.
I do have to join you. It is definitely an A in my book. This is a banger of a card.
I will feel left out if I don't, so I'm gonna give it an A as well.
Wow, mono red, not even swinging with our commander. Alexios gets the average grade of an A.
Oh, we're gonna swing with it.
Yeah, we will too. Next, another mono red. It's Surtr, Fiery Jotun. It's 3 and 2 red for a 5/5 legendary creature, Giant God Warrior. It's got trample. It says whenever you cast a historic spell, Surtr deals 3 damage to any target. You know, being a Giant God Warrior and looking so cool like that, I was expecting a lot more.
Yeah, I was thinking like this could have been a Perforos on steroids, but it's not. It's a
Yeah,
bummer.
This is nowhere near Perforos on
Oh, I'm
steroids.
saying it could have been though, dude.
could have been
Yeah, this
a
god could have
Giant
been
God
the,
Warrior. Yeah.
but no. This doesn't seem
Instead, he's
like a
a lightning
EDH
bolt
card.
on a stick.
Yeah, this doesn't seem
Yeah,
like a good
he's
EDH
a
card.
artifact. Cool. 3 damage.
Cool. And the fact that you
I
have to
mean,
target
I'm
something like, ugh.
not gonna lie, seems very easily breakable. I think that's
Yeah.
why I like it.
Possibly. Possibly. I will say this though. There is a reason you see reminder text on the word trample. It is from the starter deck. So
Ha!
these cards aren't supposed to be pushed, but
That makes sense.
it's a new legendary.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it as a potential commander. Do I think it's good as a commander? No, not really. But, Steven, you are right. You can do a lot of damage.
I mean, I'm sure you could figure out some way to like do an infinite loop, Steven. Have fun.
In mono red? I don't know.
It's got to be there.
Gotta be there. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the grades then, Steven. What do you think Surtr is with your gotta be there loop?
Well, like I said, man, anytime you can break something with an infinite loop, it's going to be high up there in grade. So that's why this is going to be a C.
Yeah,
Yep, pretty high
I
up
knew
there.
you weren't. I knew you weren't going to go that high. I'm actually gonna go down 1 grade. It's a D from me.
Yep, I think it's in the starter deck for a reason. Or in Magic. Have fun. It's a D.
Surtr, Fiery Jotun gets the average grade of a D. And the final monocolored card is not actually a color at all. It's the Capitoline Triad. 10 generic mana for a 7/7 legendary creature, God Artificer. It says those who came before, which means this spell costs 1 less to cast for each historic card in your graveyard. It also says exile any number of historic cards from your graveyard with total mana value 30 or greater. You get an emblem with creatures you control have base power and toughness 9/9.
Now, Steven, this has got to be. You could break this card a lot easier, I think, dude.
I would agree.
Yeah. It's
This card's awesome.
This card's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
I get
Card-
that you have no colors, so you're playing what, Eldrazi?
I mean, you could play Eldrazi. You just play just
I don't think
all
you're really
artifacts.
playing Eldrazi.
Yeah, just play artifacts.
Mm.
Make things cheaper. This is the first time we've ever seen a creature give out emblems in all of Magic.
That
which
is
I think is cool.
very true.
I mean, some people argue the fact that the ring tempts you was an emblem, which is kind of true. But I think this is an actual like emblem that actually does things.
Like a planeswalker would give you kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I see that. It's really cool. And the emblem it gives you is nuts, like super nuts.
It is very strong.
I think that you're really trying to, like the way I would look at this is like I'm trying to mill myself or like pitch stuff. That seems like the easiest way to get historic spells in your graveyard.
Yeah,
I'm-
pitch
I'm-
all your Eldrazi, get rid of your Eldrazi. It's like
It's
3 cards.
possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Get rid of 3 cards, and now you have an emblem for the rest of the game. Just everything that you play that is a creature is a 9/9.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
the issue you're gonna have with this is definitely the fact that I feel like you're gonna have the same issue you have with Eldrazi. This is going to be an expensive deck to play. It's not going to go fast. You need certain pieces. You can't really find the certain pieces. There are a lot of card draw like ways in like, colorless, but the issue again is it requires a lot of setup. I think this card is really cool. I think that the emblem it gives you is sick. It's going to take you a long time. But with that being said, I don't think a lot of people will probably find you as a threat early on.
Like what's
Because
that
you
deck
really
doing?
do
Nothing.
have to, yeah. Because I mean, it's going to take you a while to do really anything.
Yeah. And you said
I
it,
mean,
dude. You have a great card
it-
draw. The one
I
ring.
think you are a threat because this is sitting in your command zone, and like
Ah,
your opponent's going to see that graveyard filling up quick, and they're going to be like, what's the price of that now? How much historic cards are in your graveyard? Because this card will cost nothing. It costs 1 less to cast. There
You're
is no
very,
mana cost here. It will cost 0 mana to cast.
you're very right. Until this enters the battlefield, all your stuff gets +9 sorry, not +9, but base power 9/9. But here's the issue: you just exiled all those cards from your graveyard.
yeah, now it's expensive.
Granted, it has to be mana value 30, so there are things that could really get you there easy, like 3 or 4 cards, speaking of Eldrazi or any of the other artifact cards that are super high mana cost.
Mhm.
But once those are exiled, you don't get haste with that either. So then you
Doesn't
need a
matter. They're
board.
9/9s.
Okay, and then a board wipe happens, and then what? Then
Build again.
you just exiled, but that's my thing. I don't really think this card is as good as people are saying. I think
It
it's pretty solid. I think it's just not at a power level that a lot of people are going to want to
you
play if
just
it's
need to
high.
you just need to cast this card 1 time, and
That's
that
true.
emblem is forever.
Yeah.
You'll never need to cast this again.
Like your
Sure.
commander could be gone forever. As long as you exiled did the thing one time, no matter what you cast now, they're fucking huge, dude.
Yeah, your
I just-
Thoppers, 9/9 flyers.
Sure. Still very slow. I think it's going to take a long time. And I think you're going to do the thing one time, and then people are going to start targeting you early on, and then you're never going to want to play this deck again.
Well, no, I'm saying you're a threat immediately if this is even in the command zone. Like,
I don't think so.
I, there's only one playstyle to this deck, and that is just get your deck, put it in the grave, exile cards. Now everything's 9/9. That's the only playstyle you can do with this. So
Sure.
Just
just
let
if
them
it's
have
if
fun.
it's sitting there, you know what's coming. You're probably not going to let them do the thing.
Still
but-
fun. All right.
Yeah.
Don't ruin my dreams.
Let's move on to the grades. Because of that reason, I'm not gonna give it the best grade, so it's gonna be a B for me.
I mean, the B's still pretty good. I mean, I was gonna give it a B anyway. So if you're already at a B, jeez.
Yeah, I can't be there. I'm gonna have to give this a C.
Can't be there, huh?
The Capitoline Triad gets the average grade of a B. And that is going to do it for us today. If you guys liked this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. What did you think about these grades? Comment down below. Did you agree with them? Maybe we were off on a point. Let us know in the comments below. Always interested to hear your guys' opinions. Also, while you're down there, check the description. You'll find links to all of our social media accounts. That's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, @guys@magic for each one. Follow us on those to keep up to date with everything else that we got going on the screen right now. That is right. Those are all of our Patreon subscribers. If you guys wanted to see what they are seeing, which is not here on YouTube, check the link also in the description for our Patreon and consider subscribing. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
What kind of stuff should I put behind me in my new place?
Bye.